Take your seats. Good morning, Daytona Beach, 1 million cups.
Good morning.
All right, let's try that one more time. Good morning, 1 million cups, Daytona Beach. Much better. So Million Cups is sponsored by the Kauffman Foundation out of Kansas City. And right now, all across the country in over 170 cities, entrepreneurs just like you guys are congregating to share their stories and inspire others. First, I just want to say, all this is possible due to the hard work of a few organizers here, actually about a dozen of us. So if you're an organizer, please raise your hands. Do we have any first-timers in the audience this morning? Welcome, guys. Well, you guys are in for a treat this morning. Our speaker has come over from Orlando today, although I understand he spends his weekends at the beach. Ken Sakal, his company is Vohesu, and he has incorporated voice technology into healthcare solutions. So without further ado, let's all welcome Ken to the stage.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. I had the pleasure of presenting at 1 Million Cups in Orlando a couple months ago, and it's great to be out here in Daytona presenting here as well. And let's see, where's our fancy little clicker here? Excellent. I am the founder and CEO of Vohesu, and we develop virtual health assistants. And some of you may be asking, what exactly is a virtual health assistant? Virtual health assistants are assistants built on our friend Alexa and or Google.
There is no active call.
Oh, sorry. I have to mute her. We also develop for chatbots and websites. And we focus on health literacy and healthy living information for patients living with chronic diseases. Our first condition that we're working on is rheumatoid arthritis, because our focus is primarily voice first, and rheumatoid arthritis, the first part of your body that affects is your hands. So utilizing existing technology such as websites presents a hurdle to information. So voice is an excellent solution for that. And the big thing is all of our information is medically researched. So now I'll unmute my co-presenter who has too much to say too often. Alexa, ask company pitch, what's the problem?
A patient's misunderstanding of a condition in its care can result in non-compliance to a doctor's recommendations, significantly and adversely affecting outcomes.
Did you all hear that?
Yeah.
Excellent. So, if any of you have ever had a medical condition before, sometimes you know that you go into the doctor, he talks to you, and it's like being in an episode of Charlie Brown. And it's wah, 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 wah. And you're having a hard time processing that information. You need to do it at home on your own time. And the problem is, if you don't process all that information, you're at home and you're on your own. And what happens? You wind up being non-adherent to the information that the doctor has communicated to you. Non-adherence costs us $337 billion a year just for medication non-adherence. This doesn't include all the other instructions that the doctor gives you. So that equates to almost $10,000 per patient, and what that boils down to is preventable ER visits, additional lab tests, doctor visits, all sorts of things that can and should be prevented. And a research study done by a local company in Orlando, Express Scripts, they looked at this problem and they found that 69% of the non-adherence is due specifically to a patient's behavior or something that can be managed or changed. Another 15% is side effects, again, something that can be managed. And 16% is financial because of the cost of the medication. So, what's the solution? Alexa, ask company pitch, what's the solution? Alexa, ask company pitch, what's the solution?
The solution is a virtual health assistant that provides educational assistance and reminders to patients who want to access information immediately via voice or the web where they want it and when they want it.
So as I said, we're voice first advocates, and the first place we started is with voice. Where did I go? Okay, so we started with voice, and as I mentioned, I presented at 1Million Cups in Orlando. I've been out in the community, and there's a lot of interest in voice, but the reality is that it is a brand new technology, so adoption in the mainstream market is still small. It's growing rapidly, and 5 years from now, life is going to be a whole lot different. You're going to be controlling most everything via voice. So mainstream adoption now is still a challenge, but what we've done to help that out is we've expanded to include our technology to enable the same solution for chatbots. So our solution is built with a central back end, and the front end, we can change it out. We use a voice interface, and we use an interface that you can plug into your website via a chatbot. Also, we can plug it into Facebook. The reason why? Competition. My competition out in the industry, is other companies like me that provide services. However, the differentiation between what I'm doing and what most of these companies are doing is that the central knowledge database is something that is shared across all the customers that I'm marketing to rheumatologists, clinics, and health care providers, hospitals, and health systems. So that way, as the information grows, it benefits everybody in the network. These companies develop one-off solutions for your specific company. But because I'm a B2B provider, I also have to help my customers understand who their competition is. Today, thousands and thousands of patients are going to Facebook pages for their medical advice. We look here, I can't really see it very well here, but there's between 20 and 30,000 people signed up to this single Facebook page. Rheumatoid arthritis support. A lot of these are very well-intentioned groups, but the information that they have sometimes is good and sometimes is not very good. Sometimes you have people who are really pushing things that have no medical background, no medical history, and as a healthcare provider, your patients are getting their medical advice from sites like this. Healthcare has typically been slow to adopt the technology, but the patients aren't. The patients will adopt the technology, and if you look at the $337 billion that are lost every single year, you can dive down and probably see that some of that is due to patients getting misinformation from sites like this. So what did we do? We developed virtual health assistants. First of all, it's brandable, it's white labeled, meaning if it's your practice, we can put your doctor's name on top of it. If it's a hospital, it looks like it's coming from your hospital. Secondly, multimodal and multilingual. So we've expanded beyond voice to include chatbots, and Amazon is expanding the number of languages that it supports, and literally just this week or last week, they announced support for Spanish. So now in the United States, that's going to be huge. We can now support both English and Spanish voice-based interfaces. Value-based services is a huge thing in the healthcare service today. What value as a service provider are you delivering to your patients? This is value-based services. Information that's easily accessible to your patients. Patients are tired of calling the doctor's office, the pharmacy, and being put on hold. Now you can access information quickly, immediately, and not have to wait. And finally, one of the things that we're all guilty of, the doctor tells you to take your medication, but he also tells you healthy living, diet, and exercise. Within our platform, we have got information about healthy living specific to your individual diagnosis. So that way, especially with rheumatoid arthritis, one of the things that somebody asked on one of those Facebook pages was, is red meat good or bad for me? Red meat is probably the worst thing for you on rheumatoid if you have rheumatoid arthritis. A diet high in omega-3 or fish is what is recommended. We have that information, but also we have recommended recipes for you. So that way, those things that you have to manage for a chronic disease, which is a lifelong diagnosis, is easily accessible to you at any point in time. And nutrition and exercise, as I mentioned. The market for autoimmune, we are focusing on rheumatoid arthritis, as I said, because the existing technology is a barrier. We focused on voice, that's our #1 platform, but we have the chatbots to support that. Rheumatoid arthritis is different from osteoarthritis, which many people kind of confuse the two. Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease, so it affects all ages and is primarily managed by a certain set of medications which fall into a category of diseases called autoimmune. Our go-to-market strategy is to start with this and hit other autoimmune diseases because the information that we collect for RA is applicable to a lot of the other disease states as well. A little bit more about the market, there's 54.4 million Americans with arthritis. Of those, 1.3 million have rheumatoid arthritis. But our target market are the providers. There's approximately 5,000 rheumatologists, 3,200 hospitals, and over 600 health systems. That's who we'd be marketing to. Our team, I'm the founder and CEO. Lundy is my director of marketing. Steve is the head of technology. We have an offshore team and onshore developer intern to help bring some of that knowledge onshore. We also have an advisor, Dr. Roxy Moody, and she's helping with our marketing. Our business model is to hit each one of those target markets for our customer bases, and we'll be charging a subscription monthly based fee. This is because it's going to be representative of the number of patients that you're probably going to have. So a rheumatologist, a small one, $50 a month, a very reasonable price. A larger rheumatologist practice, we're targeting a price point similar to a custom website. As we get into the hospitals and the healthcare systems, the monthly subscription is going up. And we also anticipate that because of this, we are going to get a lot of services work on top of our monthly projections to go ahead and implement voice-based or chatbot-based services. Our revenue projections, however, are just utilizing the subscriptions. Our market penetration, we're looking to really just get a small percentage of the market. 5% of the large systems and 10% of the rheumatologists. With those numbers, a 3-year will bring us to a revenue stream of just under $1 million with recurring revenues growing year after year. What this shows is the first 2 years is focused on rheumatoid arthritis. This is our subscription, then that becomes recurring revenue, new subscriptions, and then expanding out to other disease states in the autoimmune category, such as Crohn's disease and other autoimmune. And that's how we'll get more of that hockey stick curve in revenue, is by bringing on more and more disease states as the technology and the number of disease states that we support increases. My name's Ken Sakal, founder of Vohesu. It's been a pleasure presenting to all of you. Thank you.